Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. I was supposed to be taking the day off today and enjoying my last day off before 3 weeks that include 40 hours of overtime. But then the bat signal showed up on the porch. This thing has been 3 years coming now, so I figured, well, I better open it up and review it. I don't know where my enthusiasm level is, to be honest, anymore. Like, when it was first offered, I was still crazy deep into Mezco's 112 collective. I still do think they're the very best action figures being made. Like, that hasn't changed. But I also have sold off a lot of my Mezco figures because I kind of just realized, you know what, they're so few and far between. I need to get back to where I'm just buying things that are super special or significant to me. I love this. They've got the, like, Toy Biz looking dot matrix, whatever this is called, how comic books used to be printed. That's very cool. I love this, like the old Toy Biz packaging. And then the back of the box is a little different from any other 112 in that we've got this big image on the back and then just some little panels at the bottom with shots of the figure that look so good they could almost be stills from the movie. So this is, like I said, this has been a very, very long time coming. Obviously, I have since reviewed the Beast Kingdom, Batman, and Joker. Today, I once again have my trusty Batman souvenir magazine to do some comparisons with if that's necessary. And I also have the Batman 1989 edition FAQ, frequently asked questions, that Mezco sent out an email for. So we'll get to that in a minute as well. But let's go ahead and get to this figure. I don't know. I feel, look, I'm still excited. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Michael Keaton as Batman, obviously timing-wise, with the Flash movie coming out very soon now. That's some good timing. Nice embossed bat symbol on the front. One of the most iconic movie logos of all time. But yeah, it just took so long that it's impossible to be as excited about it now as I was when I first pre-ordered it. But I'm still excited about it, and I'm hopeful that it is, a better quality figure than that Beast Kingdom one, which is, topped out at okay, as opposed to the Joker, which was fantastic. I highly recommend you guys go watch both of those videos. So we do have a product care sheet that Mezco includes with all of its figures that basically explains, look, this is a high-end collectible. This is not, you didn't buy this at Walmart for $8, which you gotta put it in there. You just have to. And then we've further got an instruction sheet, which I believe I mentioned with the Conan the Conqueror figure that I reviewed. Go watch that one as well. Like, subscribe, share. That is nice. I like this. I like seeing this. It explains, like, here is the range of the movement. And this is something that's different from Mezco's regular stuff because it is a wire armature with a rubber body on top. And I'm curious to see exactly how that's executed. But it's got the movable eyes, which are a thing that, Japanese companies have been doing for a very long time. And NECA did with Gremlins, to be fair. But I like this explanation. It looks like the cape assembly is very similar to that Beast Kingdom figure. Please note, in order to avoid damage to the body of the figure, it is recommended that you do not excessively bend any parts of the body. The range of motion for most parts is between 60 to 90 degrees. Do not place the figure in areas with high temperature and humidity. Do not leave exposed directly to sunlight for extended periods of time. Do not touch the figure with sharp objects, rub with any kinds of solvents, or apply direct heat of any kind. Excessive manipulation of figure may cause decoration finish to be dulled. Excessive manipulation of figure. That is an interesting term. So how many times can I pose it? What is the limit? Oh, sorry, I'm shaking the cam. What's the limit on that? Is it 12? Is it 50? Is it 124? Like, I don't love that. Although that is probably a note that can be applied to like Hot Toys or anything else that uses this kind of armature and body. The above image shows the standard forward and upward range of arm movement. Carefully rotate. Well, and here's one thing to consider. We all know that Keaton's bat suit was very restrictive. So, if this figure can achieve everything that Michael Keaton could achieve in the movie, then it is successful. Dude did not move. I say this all the time. Hidden Spider-Man. All right. As with most Mezco... Ooh, right out of the gate. What is this? Why isn't this... What is this basic yellow, black bat? This, to me, was a poor choice. If you're going with just the yellow... Because they've done some crazy things with these stands. If you're going with just the yellow and black, we'll make it this bat symbol. This is... Look, who cares? But also, this was a miss. All right, so we've got the stand, lots of stuff actually in the bottom portion here. We'll get to all that in a little bit. First, figure first, people. Figure first. All right. You generally want to be kind of careful pulling the trays apart on the Mezco stuff because they don't tape everything in place. All of these trays are designed to keep everything in place during shipment without the use of adhesives, which I love. So be a responsible adult when you're opening these up, or else all of your little batarangs and throwing stars and equipment is going to go all over your workstation, and nobody wants that. Wow. More portraits than I realized. As I've said before, when I see something and I know I'm going to want it, I don't honestly look too closely to see everything that's included. I look at it, I say that comes with a bunch of stuff, great, I'm happy, I'm going to order it, and then once it gets here, I'll do my unboxing and I'll discover everything about the figure. Man, these look really, really nice so far. Portrait certainly appears to be better than the Beast Kingdom version. So this is the first thing, before we even take him out, you're going to notice there's like a coating on his suit that's this powdery stuff, and that is addressed in the FAQ. Powder coating. In order to prevent any interior packaging materials from sticking onto the figure, Batman 1989 edition was coated with a protective, non-toxic powder. The powder will wear off over time and with continued handling. If you would like to facilitate the removal of the powder, you may blot the body with water and a soft microfiber cloth. Do not use an abrasive cloth or paper towel to remove the powder as to avoid damaging the rubber material. This powder... I think I will be doing some blotting with a cloth before I do my photography for the thumbnail, because it doesn't look great. So this is constructed basically like a Hot Toys figure or one of those. Very interesting. Okay, we'll get into moving him around in a minute. Man, the sculpt looks great, though. I mean, it really does look like the Keaton costume. I feel like the belt is sitting a little high. We should be able to wiggle that down into place, though. Okay. Stand him over there. He stands nicely. So far, I'm impressed, I will say. What do we got here? Put all these little... protective pieces. I appreciate the heck out of the fact that Mezco just puts these, little plastic pieces around everything to protect it all, to make sure there's no undue rubbing or damage. There is our cape. There is our Mylar storage bag. Oh, is that like under here? Oh, how did that even stay stuck in there? Oh, because it's taped in place, thusly defying what I said about Mezco not using adhesives. But, I mean, it's on a Mylar bag, so who cares? But, oh, come on. All right. Well, and we've already done it, so we might as well just give it a big dump. And we've got one little grapple piece. Teeny, 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 tiny accessories. Be aware of that and be accordingly careful. So we've got a number of hands. Teeny, teeny, tiny, but I will say this. I have never found Mezco's accessories to be excessively fragile. I mean, I'm sure you could break them if you wanted to, obviously. They're not unbreakable, but they're generally pretty sturdy for such tiny, delicate little things. And I love that Mezco includes multiples of certain items, like that Batarang. You know, that's going to be a high-use item. It's one of the signature items of any Batman. So Mezco, oh man, I just knocked over Duke. I've got such a pile of stuff over here because I was like, you know what? Once I get this insane work schedule out of the way, I'll come in here and do a real deep clean and move stuff around, figure out what I'm doing. And didn't realize I would be doing a review in that time. Okay, so we've got one cape here with our desiccant that we are immediately going to dispose of because we have dogs in the house. We don't want to lose track of where that is. So we've got one large cape that looks awesome. Great looking material. The original cape, I believe, was rubberized gabardine. And this certainly has the look that we're going for. And does not seem insanely excessively big, as sometimes Mezco's capes are. Let's set that up here. And then get the rest of our stuff out. I'm kind of doing this a little differently. I will say this, even with the Conan the Conqueror, which perhaps came with even more stuff than this Batman, you know, it's these reviewing these is a big undertaking. It really is, because there's so many little parts, there's so many things to look at, so many layers of trays. It really is a different thing from any other toy review. All right. We have an alternate cape that I'm sure serves a different purpose, perhaps does not have... There's our desiccant. Throw that away. Yeah, this one does not have the wire armature in it, so this one is just going to kind of hang. But it is the same cape, just minus the armature. I'm going to put that up there. This is the stand that bothers me so much and does not have... Usually these have a translucent piece of plastic on top of them to protect that. These scratch very, very easily. Usually there's a piece of plastic on top of them. There's not on this one. He's got his crazy giant grapple hook deal. Oh, it is articulated. We've got another... Wow. Wild. Okay, and that is... Oh, there's one more thing. That is the Batmobile remote, I believe. We'll set that over there. So tiny. And I will say this. That is one thing that I would actually say the Beast Kingdom has going for it. Is it is larger and everything is, you know, just easier to deal with size-wise. So this is how I remove the pegs from these stands. If I want to use the armature, you just pop it out through the bottom, and then the armature plugs in there and holds the figure in whatever crazy flying Nido position you want to put it in. Works very, very well. The hinges on this are unbelievably sturdy. I have Mezco figures that I have had in positions like this for years, and they have not drooped one bit. So I don't know how they engineered the friction in these joints to stay that tight, but it's a miracle. Okay, let's look at the figure, which is just under 7 inches tall from toes to the tops of his ears. And I really should blot this guy. Simple magnet holds the head on. The head, you know, the Michael Keaton's head was not articulated when he was wearing this suit. So I am okay with the fact. Are you even going to be able to see? Look at that. So there's a lever in the back of the head that you move all the way from left to right to center. And when you move it, his eyes shift accordingly. That's pretty neat. I'm trying to get in the best light I can. He's so tiny. That's pretty great. I don't know that it's a feature I needed, but since it is an additional portrait, I'm okay with it. It's a neat little gimmick. It would be kind of cool if the faceplate switched out, though, so you could have different, well, speaking of, let's take a look at that portrait. I got to say, I think that jaw and mouth looks absolutely perfect. I don't think they could have done a better job with that. It looks phenomenal. So let's get the head off here. And that is a strong magnet too. Like, that's doing its job. You know what? I think before we get any further, because this powder really is kind of throwing me off, I think I've got a... Oh, that moves pretty nicely. Oh, wow. Whoa. I think I got to blot this guy down, because the suit not being black is really just bothering me. So I'm going to fetch a microfiber cloth and some water and give it a good blotting. Okay, so I just spent about 15 minutes of time that I really don't have, by the way, blotting this with about 3 different blot sessions, and there's still a little bit of the powder is remaining, but it does come off, and it is starting to look more like we know this figure should look as far as the black suit goes. And I do have to say, the sculpting, the textures, everything looks really fantastic. It's very interesting how... I mean, I've had figures like this before with the wire armature. What it is it is not like a bendy. It is an actual, it says wire, I'm sure it's stainless steel, armature with knee joints, elbow joints, shoulder joints. I would love it if I had a figure like this to just sort of slice open and show you what's inside. But this is not a bendy. There is an actual joint here at the elbow, here at the shoulder, where you can see the powder already. Well, no, it's just glare. The shoulder, there is actually, it moves that way, and it moves, it's hard to illustrate, but there's a joint here and here where it moves. And it moves nicely. It's just wild to me that Mezco thought they were going to send this figure out with that white powder all over it and not say anything about it. So the torso, you've got a great bend there. The legs, we already saw, have a nice bend. And they do interesting... Huh. So they do not bend forward and back? That seems weird. Knee joints bend like that. Huh. But he can do the kick. Wild. I don't know if I've ever had a figure. You can feel the way that it isn't. It does. They do not bend. They only bend like that. They do not go. That's so strange to me. And I keep getting... This is, I think, just a little excess from the belt here, which the belt, by the way, is a softer plastic that does kind of stretch just a little bit so you can get it into the right position on the waist. I can't believe these legs don't move forward at all, though. But they don't. They only move out like that. Weird. Huh. That just seems like are they in wrong? It doesn't specify. If we go back to our instruction sheet, though, well, that shows the leg going forward. The above images show the standard forward and upward range of leg movement. Gently rotate legs from the above directions for smooth movement. So, if you want the leg to move forward, you're going to have to rotate that one. Man, that is difficult. I don't know if I need the leg to move forward all that badly. So it does, but it's due to the design underneath the rubber body. You're going to have to do a weird, like, sort of rotate the joint. Oh, that's so strange. So to be honest, I'll say not my favorite engineering going on, and how hard is it going to be to get everything back looking like it's supposed to once you do move that joint. So for me personally, it is not going to be worth it to go to all the trouble, because you're going to have to move this up here and then like rotate the rubber around the joint to get the leg to go forward, which seems just preposterous to me. Like, that's for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to consider that they don't move forward, which is pretty weak. Like, there's just going to be so much effort involved. And honestly, I still, sitting here doing it, I've taken up way too much time already. I don't know quite how that... Well, okay, so it moved... How does that even work? So he's got this bizarre kick going on. So can this one... Oh, it can. What? This is the strangest action figure I have ever handled. So you can move then the rubber, but then his knees don't work right. Oh, they do. They rotate. Whoa. All right. So he can get into a sitting position. It fights the rubber suit, but it does work. That's so weird. And I'm so concerned about just popping something out of joint, and once you do, you're done. Oh, and see, now that won't go that way. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. I know this is very time consuming, but this is so strange. So now that goes up there. We rotate it back down to there. All right. I'm going to amend what I said. It is bizarre and not at all intuitive for anybody who's ever handled an action figure at all. And also you'll notice that, like, in handling this, the powder is almost completely gone. His suit is a very nice black now. It's going to do what you want it to do, but it's like a puzzle to figure out how to get it to do it. And for the look of the suit to be this accurate, perhaps it's worth it? Wow. My mind is blown. And again, I'm sorry this has taken so long, but what a bizarre experience this is. This is the weirdest, I'll say it again. This is the weirdest action figure I've ever handled. So, all right, we've got to take a look at the details here. The utility belt looks great. Looks like it's supposed to look. The costume, I think it is time now to pull down our resources here. And I will say, okay, so this Batman certainly looks better than this Batman. So if you look at the details, you can see the texture here in the movie suit. It has that rubber look, and this does as well. I mean, they're very much captured. This is what the suit looks like. And look, this is the one thing that I knew Mezco would get, and part of the reason I'm sure this took so long. There's a better shot of the abdomen. This had to be one of the most difficult toys to engineer in the history of toys. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say, for accuracy's sake, I do think they've done a fantastic job representing Michael Keaton's Batman suit. Okay. This is a marathon. Let's get one of the capes on. So that collar kind of fits in place. And I believe Mezco has actually used this exact same setup before. And there we go. That is our damaged. He's got the cut on his face, angry head, end of movie, Keaton. I feel like this needs to... So there's our magnet. Okay, so if you push the collar, there's a plastic collar piece here on the cape, and you want to push that down around the magnet. Okay, so that goes like that, and then you put the body in place, and that magnet is actually strong enough to hold everything where it's supposed to go. And it looks great. It lines up nicely with the cape. Everything looks, wow, it looks really, really good. You can actually even see the stitching back here on the Keaton cowl. They had to sew him into the cowl. That's how that worked. I am curious to see if you want to have the cape kind of back over his shoulders, how well that's going to work. So let's see. First of all, let's get the cape positioned the way we want it. Well, it kind of has to go like that. Well, let's try a different portrait. We'll go with that portrait. Well, that's not really going to work. So how, if you want... Oh, you'd have to use the wire armature. But, I mean, look at that. That portrait also looks fantastic. The bat symbol is great. Okay, wait. The collar, because of the rubber of the body, that collar should actually go around that. And then the head... Okay, that's a little more secure, I think. But once again, we have this cape look that looks, you know, pretty cool, but how do you get the cape back over his shoulders? It's almost like it should have come with a third cape that was cut to facilitate being hung back over his shoulders. Man, that magnet. So that's how strong that magnet is. So here's the wire cape that I thought the other one was the one. They've almost left too much fabric in that collar, because that collar would push down right over that rubber neck piece if not for that. So there's a wire in the back here and a wire on either side in the front. Oh, there's another one. Okay, so it's really every other sort of whatever this is. Every other one of these has a wire in it. And we'll do a different head, more of a neutral expression. Also looks fantastic. But again, how do you get... I guess that's really it, is to tuck these up like this, sort of. It can be done better. I'll just say that. Much to your shock, I'm sure, but this we'll be able to do this a little bit better. I gotta say, I don't know that I believe the magnet was the best way to do this, because I think you really need something more secure holding that head and that cape in place. If there was a ball coming up out of the neck and then you just popped the head onto that, I think that would be better than this magnet that's not giving us as close. Because look, you can see this collar right here. This is hard plastic. So this should be snapping into the collar that the cape is in, but they left so much fabric around the edge here that you can't get that to fit the way it's meant to. And again, perhaps with a little more time and playing around with a little more, the fit will be better. Well, okay, you know what? I think I've got it on there. Okay, I do have it on there. So that collar does actually clip onto the neck piece. And then the magnet goes onto that. This is a difficult review because I feel like there are a lot of things that over time, I mean, obviously this is not Batman's best look ever, although it's kind of cool. Over time, anybody who gets this figure is going to sort of learn how it works and be able to handle it more effectively and get better poses and whatever else out of it. This is a figure that is going to reward persistence. And again, just look at it, and in the lighting, I realize the suit is looking a little like less black than it does, but in person it looks great. I wonder if that's a little closer to what it looks like in person. that my light is kind of washing the black out. Well, it's really because of the rubber material. My light is just kind of jacking us up here. All right, so there's the. I gotta stand up here, you guys. Pardon my. Okay, I was gonna say pardon my loud chair noise, but I realized I can just pause the video for a second for this epic review. Okay, so this is your Batman, and you can see the gauntlets. I haven't even really looked at the detail or shown you guys the detail of the figure. These are fairly sturdy, but also over here. Oh, just a little piece of something or other. All right. These are very thin, very sharp and pointy. A little sturdier than they seem, but I wouldn't put any stress on them. He's got those cool plates that he battles the sword fighter with. And then in here you can see the detail. He's actually got the metal, they're sculpted and painted, those studs that are on the inside of his gloves. Look at the seams here. Same thing with the boots. The boots are incredibly detailed. Get this, the Batman boot shape, but then he's got the Jordans. Ankle articulation is actually pretty decent. This is deadly. I wouldn't want to get pinched by that. But pretty decent articulation here. Oh, look at that. Got a good range side to side and front to back. That's a really nice ankle for a 112 figure. Okay. So, there's Batman. I guess, finally. And then accessory-wise, I mean, just everything. This is, I believe, the remote to the Batmobile. You can see sculpt, detail. Oh my gosh, is that a little bat symbol on it? I think it is. Just a little tiny silver bat symbol. We've got his grapple gun. That does not, so this plate on the actual model, this plate swings up. It does not on this, which is fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But the detail, the sculpted and painted detail on this is just nuts. And the little grapple will actually plug into the barrel if my fingers can make it happen. I can't get it in there. But you can see there is a hole there. And that will plug into it if you are more digitally adept than I am. I didn't quite get it. And then he's also got a grapple with just a really short wire that honestly almost seems kind of silly to even include. Like, I get that Mezco loves doing this kind of stuff, but come on, what are we doing with this? And that is a wire, too. It is actually a bendable wire, not just a piece of string. And you've got a plug. This stuff is getting so tiny, I can't even tell like what you're going to be able to see and what you're not. But there is a little peg on the end of that should plug right into there. But my gosh. This is like threading a needle. I can't get it into there. All right. We've got a Batarang also on a wire. I am not going to bother uncoiling that. Got a device. This is... what the heck is this? I cannot remember off the top of my head which piece of gadgetry this is, but it's cool. Look at it. It's awesome. I wanted to say it was the thing he pulls out of his heel to call the bats, but that's Batman and Robin. It is not in Batman. We've got another grappling attachment. Oh, this is crazy. So this should peg into this. I cannot believe the fine detail, the tiny... And then we've got the big boy, the huge grapple from the museum scene, or I guess zip line type thing, with the wrist clip, the articulated launchers. Pretty wild. A throwing star. Painted, sculpted detail. Insane. And then... oh my gosh, this is the antidote? That is translucent. The top portion of that is translucent. I believe this is what he sticks Vicky Vale with. Or am I crazy? Or is it what he gives her that has the antidote? I don't know. Tell me in the comments, or is it no, this might be a smoke bomb. Is this one of the smoke bomb? I don't know. Tell me in the comments, you guys. All of this stuff is not in the souvenir magazine. And then there are 4 batarangs, exactly the same. Very, very tiny. They do not fold up, which I'm fine with that. Oh, and if you don't have NECA's prop replica Batarang, you should grab it. I just saw it in Target again the other day. It's great. And for the price, I think it's a nice piece. Okay. And then finally, a bunch of hands. You have got sort of open, regular hands. Well, one open, regular hand. A sort of gripping hand. Or ready to fight, a pair of gripping / ready to fight kung fu type hands. A trigger hand. And then a couple of really tight C-grips. So let's take a look at the portraits again. Okay, so I did get that. That collar is now fixed in place. I did a good job with that. There's actually even a little clipping feel as I pulled it off there. We'll look at the hands here. He comes with the default fists on. When you take off Mezco hands, you want to try and hold, if you can see there is a ball joint right there. You want to try and hold that joint and not the forearm. And just pop that right off. As you can see, there's a very small peg there. I'm not going to say they're prone to breakage, but I have had them break. Pop that C-grip on. There we go. Unfortunately, the hands are a softer plastic. I'm going to demonstrate that with this one. They're a little softer plastic, so there's some give there. Okay, so that's how the hands work. And finally, we're going to take one more look at the portraits. This is the sort of regular default expressionless portrait. Here is the mouth slightly open. Perhaps you've taken me a bit by surprise, or I'm in the middle of explaining something portrait. Here is the battered cut into the movie. And finally, here is, it's the default portrait, but with the eye action. That's pretty neat. I don't know if I need it on too many releases going forward, but not a bad idea for a gimmick. So there you go. That is, I don't know what else to say. I'm exhausted. I'm not even kidding. That's your, I don't want battle damaged on there. I'll do the talking one. I am, seriously, this is the most draining toy review I think I've ever done. But it is Batman 1989 version from Mezco's 112 Collective. It's in many ways a frustrating figure, but I do think it is the best Batman 1989 figure that has been released. Like I said, I think the more you mess around with it, the more satisfied you're going to be with it. Portrait-wise, they nailed it. Looks-wise, texture-wise, there are a couple little things. My biggest issues with it are how difficult the articulation is to manipulate, but without that, the suit wouldn't look as good as it does. And then I do honestly kind of wish they had just gone with a peg here rather than this magnet, because I would like a little firmer planting, a little firmer connection when you put that head on. But that's it. That's all I got. I hope this was informative in some way. I hope I hear a lot of feedback on this one. I'm sure a lot of you out there got this figure, are waiting on this figure, trying to decide if you want to buy it on the secondary market or whatever. And I hope this was helpful. I know it was a long watch, and I know a lot of it was a little awkward because this was just such a weird review. But that's it. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share, and tell your friends about me.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.